There's nothing like walking through your own front door at the end of a long, hard day. But if you live in rented accommodation, there is the danger that the house doesn't really feel like a home. So it's really important that you inject your own sense of personality and put your own stamp on your place. But the good news is you don't need to go smashing down walls and ripping up carpet to completely transform your home. I've been working with Heart of House at Argos to share a few tricks of the trade that with some well-chosen accessories, you can easily, quickly and affordably transform any living room, just like the one I'm in now. One of the most common problems that people come to me with is how can they get the feeling of more light into their space. First thing you could do is paint the walls a nice light-inducing colour. Think of cool shades like pale blue, pale green, pale lilac, something like that. Some landlords are happy to have you paint the property as long as you paint it back afterwards. However, not all landlords are up for a redecoration, but the good news is there are some other clever tricks. One of the best ways to get the light bouncing around the room is to use mirrors. And I always say, the bigger the better. A large mantle mirror like this looks great because it also creates a nice focal point in the room. Personally, I love to see a really large mirror just casually propped up on the floor. It looks really dramatic. But if you're really wanting to ramp up the sense of light in your room, position your mirror opposite the window. Now, the key to any successful interior design scheme is to introduce lots of texture. Now, when you think about texture, you think of quite rough textures like wood, wool, tweed, stone, that kind of thing. One of my favourite ways to introduce a bit of texture is with a gorgeous, fluffy woolen throw. And the way I like to style them is just fold them really neatly, drape it over the arm of your sofa, a couple of folds at the front to really celebrate that gorgeous texture. But I also want you to think about contrasting it with a little bit of sparkly texture. So lovely crushed velvets, a bit of glass. Make it a little bit more entertaining for the eye. If you don't do it, your room's just going to look bland and boring. Transforming the look of your home could be as simple as just rearranging items you already own. Now, I appreciate that you like to show everybody where you've travelled around the world and your collection of films, but seriously, Paris 2009, you're not going to use that again. So clear all this clutter. Give it to somebody who wants to use it and use this as an opportunity to create a very pleasing and personal display, something that when you sit on the sofa at night is a pleasure to look at. So here I've got rid of the medley of paperback books. The DVDs have been banished away to the cupboard, and I've created a display by choosing some really rather nice, smart hardback books. Actually arranging them horizontally is also a nice idea, create a little display plinth. Also, when you're arranging accessories, think in odd numbers, that tends to work well. And also make sure you have lots of varying heights to keep the display interesting. Typically, landlords like to keep the decor quite neutral, and that includes walls, floors and furniture, but there are options to inject a bit of temporary style. For example, a brightly coloured rug, some colourful pattern cushions really update a plain sofa, even a striking piece of artwork can really transform the most simple, neutral living room. But again, the key is think of a story, either a theme, a style or a colour story that really helps this all hang together. One of the tricks that interior designers use to help really make a room hang together is to style with symmetry. So think about buying a pair of lamps and positioning them either side of the sofa. You can also use symmetry when you're styling up your collection of pictures or family photos, and actually I think grouped on one wall can create a really striking feature. Although if your landlord isn't happy with you hammering away and putting loads of nails in the walls, you can use adhesive picture hanging strips. Now these are strong enough to hang a picture, but when you come to remove them, the paintwork is left completely intact. If you live in a rented property, it's really important to fully understand what your landlord is or isn't comfortable with in terms of home improvement. But hopefully by following these tips, you will easily transform your rented space and make it yours without a paintbrush or a hammer inside.